Good afternoon, here live from Houston, Texas at 2:30 p.m. Central Time. Now, this is not the common time I'm being on, but we had several meetings to take care of. Now, today's topic, how do I respond to a request for evidence? Because there's a lot to know. Folks, my name is John Ting, your host with greencardguys.tv, here to solve your immigration problem and maybe even prevent it from happening in the first place. Now, folks, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you like our channel, please go ahead and subscribe down below and click the notification bell so you get all the future notifications of all the amazing tips, hot tips here, folks. So, number one, all right, let's get straight to it. Number one is you need to know about the flexibility, COVID flexibility rule. Okay, I'm going to share it with you on the screen here. And because the standard deadline for RFE, it depends. It could be RFE is different from something called notice of intent to deny. And some of y'all already know the difference, but I'm going to share that the response deadline typically with USCIS for RFE, request for evidence, is either 30 days or 87 days, calendar days. So I know it's completely weird and it might be extended one extra day if it was mailed to you. But either way, you need to look, and typically it's the last, there's two key pages on that. It's the first page because, say, whatever the days it is, it's those amount of days from the date on the letter. Now, believe it or not, we've actually had at least one time in our law firm where USCIS did not put a freaking date on it. So we had to just guess, right? And that forced us, of course, we try our best in any case if we receive a letter like this to file it as soon as possible. To file it as soon as possible, the response, we update our clients timely. Can you imagine that? I've heard a lot of negative stories that the clients don't hear from a lawyer about these kind of things. So it's, of course, always better to notify your client, have your lawyer notify you as soon as possible. And typically, you're supposed to get a copy of it in your mailbox as well. And so here's the deal. There, with the USCIS flexibility rule due to COVID, um, it's an extra 60 days. So you basically have a lot of time. But at the end of the day, do not wait. Just don't, if you are a person who procrastinates, just put like half the time on your calendar. Whatever the date is, let's say 90 days from now, put 45 days out as a deadline in your calendar. Okay. We're sharing tips here, assuming maybe you don't have maybe you don't have a lawyer, for example. If you have a lawyer, then hopefully this is all taken care of with you. But at the end of the day, the lawyer still has to ask you and give you suggestions based on what USCIS provides you. They need the documents from you. So same thing with our team. The key thing here is customer service because you might not know about that. You might not know about the RFE or notice of intent to deny um, because maybe you moved and maybe you forgot to tell notify USCIS that you moved. Assuming you don't have a lawyer, you didn't tell them either. But it's very important. Okay, so that's tip um, number two. Actually, is tip number two is that if you had an application pending and you were able to file it online, which USCIS does not accept all applications online, but if you were able to, then the notice would be in your online account as well. So you got to open that up and check it out. All right. So there's actually I was planning to give three tips, but there'll give you more. I'm happy to share. The third tip, folks, is when they mention meaning USCIS mentions something about inconsistencies after an interview, um, then you have to have a responsive letter to their concerns. Okay. You have to write your own letter. Please do not depend on one spouse or one person to write the letter for both people. And also, please do not write one letter for two people. I've actually believed, I kid you not, maybe I'm a little bitter about this because yeah, they were he was a client of mine with me, and I was able to get him bonded out, but then when he got married, the spouse, they hired another lawyer, and turns out that lawyer was a civil litigation lawyer. Didn't know what he was dabbling in. He was dabbling in immigration. I mean, at least he asked me if he could observe when I went to the ICE office, but yeah, he I don't know. This lawyer's if so at the end of the day, if you're filing this on your own, um, make sure to write your own letter. Okay, have two separate documents, meaning each person needs to sign their own letter. Okay. So I was very surprised when that lawyer let one letter go through with both names on it. It just didn't make sense to me. Maybe I thought that was common sense, but anyway, these are hot tips right now, okay? So please write that down. Please save this video so you can come back to it later. Because at the end of the day, when they sent in that one letter, and I don't recall, but I don't think it was signed even. So USCIS responded saying, you need to sign the letter first of all. You have to have two separate letters. That was just mind-boggling. It might not be common sense, but I don't know. If you're a lawyer, you would think about this kind of situation. So, but yeah, we get calls about this all the time, how things get messed up in the beginning, unfortunately, or in the prior case, and they may need to refile. Okay, so what's the other hot tip? Okay, the other hot tip, number 4, about how to respond to requests for evidence is that you need to, even before the request for evidence happens, okay? Because if there's a situation where it's after an interview, it could be a request for evidence, or more likely, it could be a notice of intent to deny if it was after a marriage interview. Okay. So, but in this situation, after your interview, you need to write down as many notes about the call. I mean, I'm sorry, not the call, but the interview itself. Okay. Remember what questions were asked because that can jog your memory. You can recall that correct information or the information correctly later on if you were to receive a request for evidence. If anything, I know y'all like to get your phone and scroll through Facebook or whatever it is, TikTok, but if anything, record yourself on a voice memo so you can listen to it later if necessary. At the very least, we have technology these days. Why not use it to our advantage? Okay. Which, by the way, folks, if you already had the interview and it's been more than at least I would say 6 months, you definitely need to speak with a lawyer, okay, about possibility of filing a mandamus lawsuit because it should not normally take more than even a couple months to mail you a decision letter after the interview, okay, or after the receiving your responsive documents to request for evidence or notice of intent to deny. Okay, so by the way, folks, going back a little bit related to the inconsistent answers, typically, if that was going to happen, it would be a notice of intent to deny letter, not RFE. Okay, because that's where they're saying, look, these kind of questions and answers should be the same. It shouldn't be different. So the fact that you don't have it the same, more likely you're in a quote unquote allegedly fake marriage. So they're going to find you to be have marriage fraud. So you really want to be careful, and that's why you really need a lawyer, preferably if you can afford it, a lawyer from the very beginning to prepare your package correctly. Because for us, we have a proven checklist to help our clients from start to legal status. Okay, because I've heard of people that the only really evidence they provide of marriage is the marriage certificate, but actually, it's a lot more you need to provide. Okay, the USCIS has a pretty good checklist, I think, on the USCIS website. Okay, but we have added certain things to our own checklist to where we believe that, knock on wood, we get approved every single time. Okay, as long as clients follow our checklist. Now, some clients don't follow our checklist and say, John, Just file my freaking case. And this is where we say, client, we're missing substantially a lot of evidence here. That's okay. If you want to go ahead and file it, then you just have to be ready for a RFE. Okay, at least. So as long as clients understand that, then that's going to be fine. And of course, depending on what plan you pick with us, it could be included or it might not be included. So that's just something you need to consider. Also, I'm sharing this with you because if you have a lawyer and you're considering to hire a lawyer and they have not, and especially if you want to see one, face to face, I completely understand it. We're in Houston, Texas, but we do accept clients across the world, okay, across the US. But I understand some people prefer to see someone in person. But then I would ask, does responding to requests for evidence included in your contract, right? That's important because most law firms don't list it out. We do. You would know if you pick the light plan, pro plan, or max plan if XYZ service is included or not included. Okay. So here is the website I want to share with you on which by the way, friends, we do offer free 15 minutes preliminary discussion. So if you have any questions or want to schedule something, you can call us at the number above. Okay. Well, I was pointing up, but then I'm sharing my screen. Right up here, 720-740-4247. And then, but if you're working and want to get back to our channel later, go ahead and save our video and click the link below, greencardguys.com. And this is what you can do. You can go to our website and show you how to do it. Greencardguys.com. Go to contact us, take a quiz, and answer a couple questions so we can understand your case better if there's a way we can help you. And then submit it, and it'll take you to the next page to self-schedule an appointment. We make it as easy as possible for you to speak with an attorney. I don't understand all these other law firms that, they have this back and forth about scheduling. It's just, to me, it would be annoying if I was that person trying to get an appointment. And by the way, if you don't have time to speak with a lawyer right now, mostly because of work schedule, I get it, or you're abroad, please go ahead and go to our website anyway, greencardguys.com, and download the free guide. And we don't have all our guides on there, so sometimes you might need to call us for a specific situation. But the most popular one, folks, is the mandamus. So where you can sue the government because your case has been delayed or the government issued you a denial, visa refusal, something like that, and say you can't get your visa. Okay, we need to take a look at it, see if the timing is appropriate to file the case in federal court. It might not be. Sometimes we have to tell people no, and you need to wait longer. And maybe by that time they'll get their status. But it just depends on that. Okay, folks. So to unlock those free 15 minutes, I'm going to share the secret code in a little bit, very soon. I know there's a awkward, different timing for folks, but if you have a question, you're welcome to drop it in the comment section, and our cares team will do their best to answer your question. Now, if it's after the video has been posted, you're still welcome to comment. If you can't call in, we'll see if we can point you in the right direction. So here it is, the website. Okay, let me increase the font. This is the page where USCIS says you got more time, 60 extra days. Now, this policy is valid right when the pandemic started, March 1st, 2020, until October 23rd, 2022. So if you received any kind of, let me see if I can go back one here. If you received any kind of notice in between that time, like RFE, continuation to request evidence, and 14, which is, I'm familiar with that as after a naturalization, become U.S. citizen, that kind of case, and a notice of intent to deny, notice of intent to revoke. Revoke means you already have the status, but they're going to take it away. So you get one more chance. And there's a couple other situations there. All right, so hopefully that helps. And anyway, folks, I have to share the secret code with you because I need to head out and pick up the kiddos. Alrighty. And here is the secret code, folks. Take a look. It's at the bottom of your screen. Green Card Guys, you could have guessed it, but share that code with our cares team. when you call in for the first time, and they'll set you up. They'll do the best to schedule you for a consultation. All right, folks, I appreciate it. And I wish you nothing but the best. Take care now. See you tomorrow.